the time that Jared was born at around 3540 BC, and he then lived 962 years, dying at approximately 2578 BC, making Jared approximately 414 years old at the arrival of the fallen angels, sort of middle-aged for the people at that time. This possibly authenticates how the calendar is so accurate, and why others, like the Chinese calendars, have a similar ending date. The Mayan legends have Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent, giving them the calendar and other skills and leaving them, possibly as late as 2000 BC, promising to return. In later years, the Aztecs, who still had calendars in the history of some of the history of the Mayans, mistook Cortez as the returning Quetzalcoatl in the 1500s. The mysteries surrounding Quetzalcoatl are that we can't make an accurate determination of who or what he is. Quetzalcoatl is known as the winged feather serpent god. He is also known as a demigod, part human and part god. His description is of a white-skinned, blonde-haired, blue-eyed, bearded humanoid. Being given these different aspects of his personage, there are several possible conclusions we might be able to make about him. One, he was a normal human who became great in the eyes of Mayan society, maybe somehow displaced from another area of the world since of his color variation, or maybe the fact that he was just a normal human, maybe an albino or something like that, just so that marked him with a lighter skin color. Or he was a Nephilim, a cross between humans and the angelic. Or he was actually a fallen angel, possibly even Lucifer himself. The description of a white-bearded, blue-eyed person is very similar to the Sumerian description of the god Enki, who some biblical scholars identify with Satan from the Sumerian legends. The calendar possibly has its origins from fallen beings. Therefore, the date it ends on may be significant, because the devil might know something may occur on that day, especially if it's his own plans. Satan knows he only has a general amount of time before the end, but he doesn't know everything. He knows that at some point he'll be cast to the earth, and then he will know the exact amount of time he has left. You might ask, how would the devil know of a general timeline he has? Well, the information for that comes from the book of Enoch, and that's the main source of the idea that the earth will have 6,000 years of human history, followed by the 1,000-year day of rest before the day of judgment. Not all Christians agree about the validity of this book, the book of Enoch, usually because they don't want to put their trust in a non-biblical sources, considering that Enoch was removed from the canon. But what they may not realize is that Jude, Jesus' brother, directly quotes from it. Peter references it, the stories in it, and even Paul repeats its ideas by writing that a day is as 1,000 years to God. So theoretically, the devil knows that in approximately 6,000 years from the creation of man, his end is coming. It's not far-fetched to think that he or others may come up with a calendar that ends during that time period. Biblical proof that the devil may know the approximate time frame of the end comes from Matthew chapter 8, verse 29.
When he arrived at the other side of the region of the Gadarenes, 2 demon-possessed men coming from the tombs met him. They were so violent that no one could pass that way. "What do you want with us, Son of God?" they shouted. "Have you come here to torture us before the appointed time?" Some distance from them, a large herd of pigs was feeding. The demons begged Jesus, "If you drive us out, send us into the herd of pigs." He said to them, "Go." So they came out and went into the pigs, and the whole herd rushed down the steep bank into the lake and died in the water.
The demons were very afraid that Jesus had come early to torment them before their time. And the Greek word here used is kairos, which means a set, proper, or appointed time. Obviously, to their knowledge, Jesus had come early. He wasn't supposed to be there at that particular time in history. And this harkens back to the Book of Enoch, but whether you believe the Book of Enoch's valid or not, here in the Bible is talking about the demons themselves thought something was up because it was before the time that they had ascertained before the judgment. So the Mayan prophecy of Quetzalcoatl returning, can it be a setup for when Satan is cast out of heaven with his angels, and then they offer some proof of seeing humanity? It's possible. Those in the UFO community have been expecting for years aliens to make their presence known, or for the world's, or for the known to the world, or for the governments of the world to admit that they exist. Even people who claim to speak with them have made claims of when they would come and make their presence known, but none have come true to any major extent. Maybe because, the devil will not stay on earth until he's forced to. He has freedom to travel about the heavens, as referenced in Revelation 12:10.
And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought back. But he was not strong enough, and they lost their place in heaven. The great dragon was hurled down, that ancient serpent called the devil or Satan, who leads the whole world astray. He was hurled to the earth, and his angels with him. Then I heard a loud voice in heaven say, Now have come the salvation and the power and the kingdom of our God, and the authority of his Christ. For the accuser of our brothers, who accuses them before our God day and night, has been hurled down. They overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. They did not love their lives so much as to shrink from death. Therefore rejoice, you heavens, and you who dwell in them. But woe to the earth and the sea, because the devil has gone down to you. He is filled with fury, because he knows that his time is short.
To accuse the Christians before God. So he just doesn't stay in one place. It doesn't say he's never on the earth. It's just a matter he has freedom. The spiritual beings, they're basically interdimensional beings. They can go to different areas. He is not bound to earth all the time or anywhere else, but he will be at the end times. But now he's not. Another Mayan myth associated with returning gods is the story of the sky gods leaving a crystal skull and showing the Mayans how to create more. Supposedly the skulls were used in their religious ceremonies. Supposedly 13 skulls were made, and they are to be returned by 2012 to stop a great disaster. The disasters that are to befall the world. Recently, the fourth Indiana Jones movie, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skulls, used elements of this in their movie. They focused more on the alien origin of Mayan culture. And there's also a lot of variability to this, because this is basically more on word of mouth. As a matter of fact, I think there's supposed to be anywhere from 30 to 59 skulls, and it's a legend, and I think, potentially people have added a bit to it, but I still think it's showing, it's giving you a direction of where the future's headed. I think a possible direction. And the most famous of the crystal skulls found is the Mitchell Hedges skull. This skull was allegedly found in 1924 in the ancient city of Lubantoon in Belize. Anna Mitchell Hedges claims to have found it on her 17th birthday under a collapsed altar in a temple. Her father, F.A. Mitchell Hedges, had been excavating the city at that time. In 1970, Anna had stated that she was told that by the Maya that the skull was used to will death. And her father, F.A. Mitchell Hedges, also mentions the skull in his autobiography, Danger My Ally, published in 1954.
The skull of doom is at least 3,600 years old. The ancient Mayan used it in esoteric rites. The high priest would use the skull to will death. It is the embodiment of pure evil. F.A. Mitchell Hedges, 1954.